right, everyone. Hello, Holly King. Welcome to my podcast. This is Wild Kingdom Wellness. We will talk about everything well in this podcast. We will explore topics that include subject matters like spirituality, physical, mental, emotional health, and also the things you see going on in the world around you. So if you are ready to go on this Wild Kingdom Wellness ride with me, then make sure that you subscribe to this podcast. You also share this particular podcast and more with others. I will be exploring the realms that people are afraid to go into, and you will not want to miss these episodes. So, Holly King, Wild Kingdom Wellness, welcome to my journey.
I am super excited to talk to you all today about what I see going on in the world around me. So make sure if you're not following me or you're not subscribed, that you are definitely keeping up with my journey as a Kentucky woman. Y'all, listen, there's so much that I want to help you all understand when it comes to like the world we live in right now, politically speaking. So, what I'm doing right now is I am, again, streaming live on TikTok. I may or may not see your comments, okay? But please just make sure, give me a heart, a thumbs up, because I am kind of vacillating between two platforms, three platforms if you count Facebook. So anyway, I'm learning so much about technology. It's scary. Okay. So, anyway, let's get going. Good morning. Today it is Monday. It is May the 18th, 2026. The color of the day today, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking at the Witch's Date book from Llewellyn's 2026, this is where I get all my good moon cycle information, y'all. The color of the day today is ivory. So just if you are putting on your underwear right now, I want you to get you a pair of ivory underwear. Make sure that they are not stained, please, and thank you. But just understand, like when you work with spiritual life force energy, like I do as a spiritual life coach, well, knowing what the color of the day today helps me get my vibration going. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So, where's the moon today for all you moon cycle followers and all you boys and girls that believe that by the time a full moon comes, we're all a little bit cray cray, right? Well, the moon today, you all, ladies and gentlemen, she is in the sign of Gemini, and it never fails. For those people that know me and know me well, they know that when the moon is in Gemini, I am typically doing live videos. I say that to people all the time. You can go back and fact check me on that. So the moon's in Gemini today. And what is the sign of Gemini? Well, it is nothing more than a major sign of communication. Okay, Gemini is an air sign. So if you're somebody who works in, I don't know, global politics and, communication, journalism. Oh my God, we're going to talk about journalism this morning, big time. So again, make sure you like and subscribe. Okay, so and if you're on here, say, hey, it looks like my TikTok people are, and y'all, my screen's this way. So my TikTok people are commenting. Please say hi, Victoria. It's funny, Victoria. It says you're watching. It also says in my almanac today. It's funny. It's Victoria Day in Canada. But y'all, listen, you're going to follow along to me for a while because there is so much going on in the world around me as a person that I feel like it is time for me to not only tell my subscribers, tell my followers, talk to the people in my world whom I love dearly, very, very much. It's like, y'all, it's time for us to create some unity in the world, especially if you're in America, which I am, but y'all, we need to flush out the bad stuff. It's kind of like when you got to go potty. Okay. And I'm also a certified health coach, so we can talk about poop on these videos, y'all. But listen, I'm at the point in my life where I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired of what I see going on in the world around me. I made a decision last week to go, you know what? I'm going to step up to the plate as a United States citizen of the United States, to understand how the hell does politics work because I am so you know, passionate about seeing unity and people heal, and especially this war stop. If you want, to know the truth, like I am so passionate, ladies and gentlemen, to see our world become a better place that I've decided I'm just not going to shut my mouth. And so it probably, if anything, I'm going to entertain you. Okay. So through these streaming platforms, through TikTok, through Facebook, through YouTube, you can also find my podcast on Apple and Spotify. Like if there's breath, as long as there is breath in my body, y'all, as long as there is breath in my body, I am going to talk about what I see going on in the world around me, and if you align with my statements as a human being, first of all, you're not a bot. You're not a hater. You're like, this lady's crazy. Y'all would be surprised at some of the comments I get when I go live on these platforms. I remember not too long ago on my YouTube, the lady was like, Grandma, you're off your meds. And I'm thinking to myself, honey bunny, my brain is so sharp as an individual, I don't need medication. Like that's the thing about it is I don't really want a whole lot of meds to try to get through the stress and anxiety that's happening in the world. So, would you like to know what I'm talking about? Well, let's get started today. So, if you are getting ready for work, you're watching me live on Facebook, put the phone down and just listen to what I have to say, because the words that I speak are going to start coming out, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I understand what she's talking about when it comes to politics. Okay. So I am not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a medical doctor. I am just, like I said, one woman with two cameras at this point, right? And I'm like, I'm streaming my journey about truth and justice, in the American way, because we got one fucked up world we're dealing with right now. Also, this is not for children. So, if you are somebody who has little children in the room and you catch these videos, please, I beg of thee, send them out, get them a bowl of Cheerios, and move them out of the sound of my voice, because I do tend to say the F word a lot. And again, I'm not going to apologize for that. You know why? Because apparently the president of the United States has a very colorful mouth. So we, the people, who are, under the regime of our leadership, if they gonna cuss, I'm gonna cuss. Okay, like I'm upset about what I see going on in the world around me, but I am piping down my anger, y'all, and I'm turning all of that frustration and all that anger and everything I see, the frustration of humans. If you're a human, you're probably a little frustrated right now. Are you frustrated? Give me a high five. Are you frustrated? I'm frustrated. So let me tell you why I'm frustrated, boys and girls. Okay. I'm frustrated because what I see going on in the world around me is kind of dark and it seems kind of evil. Now, if anybody else is oblivious to that and they're like, you're crazy, we're just going about our lives, doing what we do, letting I don't. If one more person says to me, and they're an American and they're an adult, and they say to me, I just don't want to deal with politics, I just don't know what to say to you at all, especially if you're over 50. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you are real human beings, know who your politicians are and know how the policy systems work. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm doing. This morning, y'all, I'm going to drink my coffee because we're just hanging out together. Okay, I got my altar set up here. It's more of my educational altar, my table. Jen O'Brien. Hello, Jen O'Brien. It is my birthday. Jen O'Brien's birthday. So you're a Taurus. How fun is that? So, well, Mars went into Taurus today, honey, and let's see. You got a big energy shift when it comes to the universe. If you follow astrology at all, side note, y'all, Mars went into Taurus today. Venus went into Cancer, and the moon is actually going into Cancer later on tonight. So, happy birthday, Taurus. Do you know what your zodiac sign is? Like, do you know what all that's about? So, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe because I will try to catch comments as I go along. But y'all, I got about a 30-minute video. This is going to be about a 30-minute video. So if you're bored, just just set the video camera down, okay? Set the phone down, set the iPad down, whatever. If you're on your computer, if you're not bored and you're busy, set the phone down and please just open the link, Listen to what I have to say because we're going to talk about what's going on politically from my view of my own personal city council. Okay, and I'm just gonna say in Kentucky. That's good enough. Okay, I don't need nobody tromping up on my door because I got 8,000 cameras and a Second Amendment right for you if you come knocking on my door and you ain't welcome. Okay, you come to me with an appointment. All right, boys and girls, listen. I live in a very dangerous neighborhood, by the way. We'll talk about that later. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick, sick, sick of it. What is it? I'm sick of politics. And as a human being and as an American citizen, I want to know how this shit works so that I know how to vote and get these messed up oligarchs out of our America. Let me back up. We need to get the foreign agents out of our American policy. Okay. And again, I'm not being racist at all. We need to get the foreign lobbyists, all the billionaire class money coming into the White House. We listen. If other countries want to give us money because we're American, okay, fine. But what's the exchange? So somebody tell me if we take $1 billion, and I say we as Americans, okay, the White House, you know who I'm talking about. I am going to address Donald Trump today directly. So he may or may not see this video. It's fine. I don't care at this point. But listen, if we're taking on an executive branch level of government billions of lobbyist dollars from people like Marian Adelson. If you don't know who she is, please look her up. She's on my board over here. I got a whiteboard. We're getting ready to go to school in a minute, okay, about politics. But let me just clarify why I'm upset. If we're receiving all of this money from the state of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and listen, again, I love everybody. I'm not trying to be a hater when it comes to religion. That is the last thing I am. But this war, y'all, it's killing our economy. It is destroying America as we speak. It's like we got to stop this. And if I were to right here, my hand to Jesus, because I love Jesus, whether you love him or not, it's not my problem. I don't care. But my hand to Jesus, y'all. I wish Donald Trump would just say, you know what? Stop bombing Iran for a minute because now we got a bigger issue, and that is the people don't trust the government at all. We don't trust the government at all. We do not. We do not trust you. We're trying hard to work with you so that we can have flush toilets and that our garbage men will pick up our garbage and that everybody can have a decent living wage and be grandmas like I am and go about their business and live in their tiny little homes. And yet, all the while, we got nothing but these oligarch politicians taking money from other countries, bombing kids. It's a fucking genocide. Listen to Candace Owens. Listen to Nick Fuentes. I'm not playing, y'all. I'm not playing. I have permission from the Holy Spirit to go ahead, Holly, tell him how you feel. Because you know why? I still have a First Amendment right, which is what we're going to talk about a little bit later down the road. Is do you know, as Americans, do you know what your first 10 Bill of Rights are? Do you? And when you know you are holding back, whether it's social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, look, y'all, right now our content is not heavily censored and away from us being able to speak our truth as individuals. Okay, because the First Amendment says we have freedom of speech. Okay, we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, freedom of press. Okay, and independent journalism is a part of that, right? That's why we're all on here trying to be movie stars on TikTok and on Facebook and on YouTube. We all want to be a movie star. We all want to put our opinion out there, tell people how we feel, but you're doing it from behind a screen. And you know what? When that person jabs back at you and says, you know what, I'm not voting for Thomas Massey, he's a traitor. And I say, bullshit, back to the person that said that to me on my social media feed. I'm like, you can do one thing and that's unfollow me, and you can disagree with me, but I'm going to come right back at you. but we don't want to call each other names, okay? Where do we draw the line with the hate speech as individuals? Where? Where? Tell me. Somebody riddle me this, Batman and women. Where the hell do we draw the line when it comes to hate speech? Me being upset, doing this live video, doing my homework, and learning a little bit about politics, that's not hate speech. Okay, that's me, some whitish woman, here in Kentucky to go, I'm so sick of the fighting and arguing. And Jesus is tired of it too, okay? There's so much you all don't understand about religion. I am a certified Bible coach, and I'm also a metaphysical spiritual scholar coach when it comes to looking at like world religion. What do you want to know? I don't know everything about all the religions, but I do know one thing. I can tell you that Christianity is the biggest religion on the globe, but Muslims are the second. Islam, like we're kind of neck and neck, y'all. Okay, so again, let's pare some stuff down and look at things from a logical, spiritual perspective. Okay, first of all, Christians are at war with each other. You've got the Jews and the Catholics, and you've got like the Baptists. We have all these organizations of Christianity, which Jews are like kind of in the middle. Okay. Then you got Muslims and they worship Allah. They honor Muhammad. I think, and if I were to do a comparative statement, my own opinion, I think Mohammed and Jesus, like they kind of came from the same basket, like Moses, right? Like Moses did, y'all. It's like if you're born over here and your family and your, way of life was that you honored Allah, and I'm over here in America playing little white girl and I honor Jesus, but we still honor the fact that those are creative energy. It is father figure energy. Okay. And so all of a sudden it's like, well, my God's better than your God. Well, your God's better than my God. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We all come, y'all, biologically from the same source of energy. You have blood, you have breath, you have, cells in your body. You live in a quantum. You're very powerful with your words. You're very powerful, with your intentions. Like people don't realize how powerful that they really are. You have, if you're a tarot card reader, you have the ability to become your own magician. Poof, just like that, and it's like, well, but I can't do it because, it disagrees with my XYZ. Like, when are we going to align as human beings? Someone tell me that. When are we going to align? And then, as the people, the tax paying American citizens, all 50 states, above and beyond, when are we going to start to take back our understanding and our power of understand? Like, if you don't know how politics works, honey boo, y'all don't know how to do the game. Okay. And you know what? The game has become quite treacherous by allowing Donald Trump and Pete Hessex, I can never say his last name, and all these Israeli Zionist contributors run the White House. And you're like, how could I say that? That sounds so terrible. Well, let me give you some facts, okay? So 18 of y'all watching over here. I can't tell how many's over here. But anyway, Tom Fiji 225 joined. Radio Guy 22. Listen, y'all, I'm on TikTok, but my camera's like this. You can see me straight, but my view's like this. But that's okay. I'll just play like, Pinocchio over here. But look, I did a whiteboard this morning. Okay, let me grab it. Okay. This is not legal advice. This is not medical advice. This is not political advice. This is me seeing the world go on around me. Okay. And I'm done. I'm done with being dumb myself. Okay. I'm dumb. But I'm done with being dumb. Okay. We're gonna be smart. So make sure you like and subscribe. Y'all ready? Here we go. I did my whiteboard this morning, and here was what I asked the universe. So anything I say cannot be held against me in a court of law because it's all my public opinion, and I'm just doing research. Okay. Okay, y'all. Teacher is in the room. Somebody's saying happy birthday to everybody. Hello, Anna. Hello, how are you? Girl, I'm good. Listen, or guy, I don't know. But y'all, I'm just chilling right now. Okay. So let's go to school. I'm not gonna smear the back because we got more information on the back. Okay. My question this morning to the Holy Spirit and the universe was, what do we know about as Americans? What do we know about Donald Trump? That was my question. So send this video to him, okay? I don't even care. I don't even care anymore. Listen, I pray for his mortal soul that he wakes up, y'all. Just come on. Okay. Thank you for all those likes and hearts. What do we know about Donald Trump? And again, this is allegedly, but it's pretty factual at this point. you know, we know that he did receive billions and billions of dollars from people who want this war to continue. Okay, so military industrial complex type people, people who want to see Gaza completely annihilated so that they can build Trump towers, stuff like that. Okay, they've gone in. We're bombing. Israel's bombing Lebanon. Like it just goes on and on and on. But what we know about politics over here on this side of the river is we are annihilating a population. Okay. And it's not just one country. We're not just annihilating Iran. Okay. And again, have I seen video footage? I don't, you and I know we don't know exactly what to believe anyway when it comes to what comes down in, the form of social media. So I do know that BlackRock, Vanguard, and Charles Schwab are buying up the local news stations here in my city. So just if you heard me say that, you might want to look into like your own local channels and go and look and see who is really broadcasting to you, because BlackRock, Vanguard, and Charles Schwab, this is a fact, look it up, are gobbling up a lot of the local news stations. And that concerns me as an individual. That's why I'm on YouTube. That's why I'm on TikTok. That's why I'm on Facebook. Okay. So what else do we know? We know for a fact that Miriam Adelson, who is an American Israeli, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe she's a resident of the US, gave him a whole bunch of lobby money. The records are supposed to be public to what organization contributes to, our political leadership, right? But the problem is something like APAC, which you all are learning the terms because they're blasting the hate slander speech videos against each other, saying, well, this advertisement was supported by APAC or Super PAC or whatever. That just means money, okay? It's a pack of wolves who paid off your politician to work on their agendas, okay? One-on-one politics, okay? So what is lobbying? It is an organization who makes a contribution to a campaign or a party of government in order to help them establish an agenda for their own political purpose and gain. That's all. Okay, so we got lobbying going on. But here's the problem. It's okay for global exchange for us to borrow money from other countries, countries borrow money from us, make sure that nobody tanks the global economy. Okay, nobody wants to crash the global economy. Nobody in my world wants to crash it. There are some people that do, but they're not in my world. Okay, so if Donald Trump is currently working, let's say 65% of Donald Trump's energy is helping Israel annihilate Iran and allowing things like, if you don't know what FARA is, FARA, it's where foreign countries that pay our president to do their bidding, they register with us under something called FARA. That's not on here. I just know this stuff, okay? And we're going to keep talking about it. And if I end up missing, at least somebody heard me, okay? Because I'm not playing games. I'm not playing games no more. I'm not playing games. Too many people getting killed. Not playing games. All right, so we know that for a fact. Okay. The second thing we know that is super important as we get into 2027, okay, is that Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Candace Owen, Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, who is dead, there's a D by his name, he's been unalived, okay? Let's see. And the liberal Democrats are all turning against our president as we speak. And when I say that, I mean they do not trust him. They disagree with his agenda. I can send you 8 million. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. I didn't finish reading the list, right? All of these people on my little whiteboard, y'all, just right there in number two, are all trying to explain to you that our president is compromised, that our government has been infiltrated. Monsieur Numius. I know he looks like that blonde dude on the box of Fruity Pebbles. The dad from Roseanne looks like the other dude. My next life, I'll be a comedian, and I can tell you there's so many things that I could say to make fun of people. But you know what? I'm kind of funny looking too. But listen, I know, honey. My only thing about Donald Trump is I see right through him. Like y'all, I'm an energy reader. I can see right through him. He's so. I, I believe. I believe he's blackmailed because of the Epstein files. Okay, and I don't say that to be like let's take all the emotional energy out of it, right? Let's just look at the facts. I and a whole lot of other people in independent media really believe, especially I think it's Tucker Carlson is like saying, I feel sorry for the guy. I feel sorry for the president, because he's compromised. And if you go back and you look at some of the Sean Ryan clips interviewing Tucker Carlson, who Sean Ryan is amazing. If you don't know who Sean Ryan is, please look him up. YouTube, y'all, I'm a YouTube snob, by the way, but I need to get more on TikTok because this is a world too. I love my audiences. I love engaging with people. But y'all, I kind of sort of believe that maybe Donald Trump has been blackmailed, by something that's in those Epstein files. And of course, we've all got the cover up scandal going. This is the biggest cover up scandal. It's bigger than Watergate with Nixon. I wasn't even born yet, y'all. It's becoming bigger than JFK at this point, but tomato, tomato, right? Same organization, same global fucked up brain that says we'll just divide the people because we're better than you. I don't believe that one race is better than another. It's just you'll never that one race or more religion is you'll never convince me that we shouldn't look at equality as humans. Never. Never. You hear me? And I'll say never a lot. Okay. Hello, kitty. Don't get burned. I have cats, y'all. Okay, so and then what else was I concerned about? Well, not only the fact that all his right wing constituents, Charlie Kirk went into Joe Kent, who was uh, the counterintelligence director that stepped down, that was the Marine that Donald Trump called him weak, which pissed me the fuck off. I was like, You ever been married to a Marine? No, I have, so fuck off. I'm like, are you serious? And so Joe Kent did an interview with Tucker Carlson and a couple other people. And he's like, the reason I resigned, y'all, is because Cash Patel blocked me from investigating Charlie Kirk's death. There was intel coming in that Israel was a part of it. And this is where y'all need to go back and watch a year and a half worth of Candace Owens, okay? Because she's got the details. Whether you like her or not, if you're left wing, she's on your side now. Look what's happening, y'all. And all this mess, here's the good news. And all this messy stuff we're flushing down the political toilet. Here's the thing, they're eating themselves alive. So the people are like, whoa, I need to know who to vote for next because there are still somewhere down the road good people that care about the people. And there are more people than there are politicians. Although they might think they hold the rope around our neck, if we're all dead, nobody's consumed. First of all, if they kill us all, here's the thing, nobody's going to buy their products. They're not going to have anybody to advertise to. Google is not going to have anybody to play with. Chat GPT. Look, if AI takes over, y'all, it'll bore itself to death because it can't learn if we're all dead. Okay, right? Who else is down here? Let me check a comment. Check a. I love you guys on TikTok. F you wait. Let's see. You wait. FUKK you wait join. Hi. I know. Look, F word's my favorite word, and I'm not sorry about it. I know. So this is not for children. Take the children out of the room. All right. So anyway, so we've done a discovery this morning. 2 o'clock this morning. I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. I'm very virtuous, although I'm not a virgin, but that's fine. Y'all listen. This group of people is trying to tell you that our White House is infiltrated. Okay. Now, my biggest concern isn't my biggest concern is the war and gas prices and the price of like everything. I asked my statistical friend Alexa over here off. I asked my device, you know, what are we doing in inflation? Was that for me? No, honey, off. I want to know like what's the rate? What's the rate of increase of student loans? What's the rate of increase of gas? Like food hasn't gone down, inflation hasn't gone down. We are inching and we're inching up fast. Okay, if you live in my world, gas is at 4.50 a gallon, and I have been researching, and to my knowledge, allegedly, the barrel of oil, even with all this war, never went over $110 a barrel, right? So if it only went up, say 10% a barrel, and again, someone fact check me on that, send me the details. But it's my understanding through creditable news sources that the cost of oil, the barrel, never really skyrocketed that high. So why did the cost at the pump go up 50%? I don't know. Like my statistics class. By the time I go to school, y'all, to be a grown up, I'll probably figure some of this out. But like, I'm not okay. I said I was a dummy earlier in the video, but I'm not. I'm not a dummy. That's the problem. I wish I was a dummy. Okay, but y'all. So we got this whole class of people who are exiting out of the administration. I do know Tulsi Gabbard. It was somebody came in and got her filed the other day. So you might want again pay attention to the low. Don't pay attention to your local news. Pay attention to your independent news on YouTube and those channels that you can trust. Okay, please, even if it's left wing news, it's fine. Okay, they're still digging through left wing news and right wing news on YouTube and on TikTok and Facebook. We're starting to see the patterns. We're like, oh, wait a minute, they're not for the people. Oh, right. So we need to understand how this works, right? So here's your politicians. You all got those sex scandal stuff with, Epstein. You can look. There's book another day. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to lean into that right now. But what I do want to into is who's Paula White? Who's Paula White? Who's Trump's pastor? She's an evangelical, okay, and she is in charge of praying over him, if I'm not mistaken, every week. So you got an evangelical Paula White Kane pastor. Look up T.D. Jakes, look up John Hagee, look up, even Joel Osteen. You got these mega church, believers that say, we will die for Israel. Like, and you know why I know this, y'all? Because for 10 years I was Pentecostal. Remember? 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 I know how they took the Old Testament of the Bible and beat it over your fucking head and said, you will submit to worshiping the God of Israel. And then I stopped for a minute and I was like, wait a minute. I thought I was a born again believer in Jesus. Didn't he absolve all this damage that we're doing? Didn't Christ come to help the world become a better place? And then at the age of 33, they hung him on the cross and they beat the shit out of him and they killed him, allegedly. Okay. So what are we doing now? We're doing the same thing to people who just want to be left alone, and have if you got ethical moral values, then a lot of the stuff we're arguing about as tax-paying citizens when it comes to law and jurisdiction, y'all, it's all a part of this fragmented government that we live in. And then you have to ask yourself, when you are cannot buy, when bread is $5 a loaf, okay, when bread is $5 a loaf, and they trick you into all this propaganda and marketing that Dave Seedy bread is better than Ezekiel bread is better than Wonder Bread. Who remembers Eddie Murphy? Hmm. And his Wonder Bread sandwich. Who on here remembers Eddie Murphy raw? That's why I want to be a comedian when I grow up too. I want to do all the things, y'all, all the things. But it's like we now have all of these evangelicals infiltrating in the White House, and they're like, kill, kill the devil. It's like, Satan's after your children. And I'm thinking to myself, hold up a minute. Who's Satan? You're Satan? My Satan? There's Satan? Who's Satan? Who is Satan? And you're like, and it's just hate after hate speech. You ever sat in a Pentecostal church setting? The devil's after you. Catholics are bad. Yoga's of the devil. Everything's of the devil. Everything's of the devil. All the while, you got these evangelical pastors, men and women living in $1 million mansions, telling people how wrong they are. How terrible they are. Give it to Jesus. Your sin will get you. Like if you don't do what we say, you die and go to hell. I'm like, I think we already here, you know, because it's like, excuse me, don't you think I am grown up enough and responsible enough to make my own decisions based on the First Amendment right, which is plain and simple? It is the most simple Bill of Rights that we have, y'all. It's, look up the first 10. I can't wait to teach y'all this stuff again as I educate myself. But I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are we fighting? you know? And so, if you're a prayer warrior at all, I highly suggest that you really go into a deep space of meditation and prayer and ask yourself, am I really being fed the whole truth and nothing but the truth? So help me God by your president. I'm gonna think no. I'm gonna vote no on that one. Okay. So you got all these Zionist religious, you know, evangelicals, apostolics, Pentecostals, Zionists, some Baptists. A lot of Baptists ain't buying it though. I don't think Catholics ain't buying it right now. Catholics definitely not buying it. Ask Candace Owens. They are not buying it. And studies show allegedly that the younger generation, people like 18 to 22, 23, they ain't buying it either. And guess what? They're ready to vote. So it's like, what's happened is the Republican Party has now become a Christian nationalist party. And they only want you to believe, that you're supposed to support Israel. Otherwise, you know, you are in the wrong according to the Lamb's Book of Life. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, this is stupid. So anyway, I want to change the world, whatever. Well, let's continue. Okay, so you got Jews, you got Catholics, you got Muslims, you got all these divisions. And what happened to Charlie Kirk? He was in Trump's office and Joe Kent's office before they unalived him. God rest his soul. And he was saying, please don't do this. Please don't bomb Iran. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's like, I believe he has $10 million missing right before he died. He was getting ready to audit it. You can fact check me on that. But he's like, where is this money going? Turning Point, USA, BCD, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't know. We'll continue. So how does government work? Do you know? Do you know? So I'm gonna give you a rundown real quick, and then we'll come back another day to continue this conversation, y'all. So make sure you like and subscribe. You got to trust me when I'm reading, okay? Why are the primaries so important, and why should you be voting right now in your jurisdiction if you want to see the 2027-2028 presidential election come out for the people? Okay, so how does that work? First of all, mix it up, please. Just mix. If you're blue and red, know your candidates because they're taking all that off there anyway. They're taking the R&D off your ballots. They already did here in my state, but just do your homework. Follow me. I'll try not to steer you wrong because I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'll tell you who I vote for, but I'm not going to tell you who to vote for because you got to do your own homework. I'm exhausted, y'all. I've been up all night studying this stuff. Okay. Why are the primaries so important? Well, how my city works is this: we have 21 districts broken up in my city, and then we have these sub districts that all these candidates are working for the city. We have the mayor's seat. Okay, so right now in Kentucky, we're voting for our Senate, our Congress, our mayor, our county clerk, and all of our district city council members. Okay, so that's right now. I voted in the primary early voting on Saturday, and I was like, I did a hella lot of homework. First time ever on who I voted for in the primaries. And I kind of call them the sub primaries because I didn't realize in November, whoever wins these seats, they got to duke it out with other people in the state, right? I was like, because initially I was like, where's Thomas Massey? He's not on my ballot. And it was like, oh, I'm not in his U.S. representative district. Okay, so I was like, oh, I get it. That's why he's not on my ballot. So I got to start with my own streets, right? I got to go, okay, well, what district am I in my city? Okay, so what district am I in? Who would I want to see go up against who when it comes to like the Senate race? Same thing with the Congress race because those seats are open. And then also the mayor of my city. Do I keep him or do I vote somebody else? I can tell you right now, his ass needs to go. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But anyway, y'all, that's government works. So it's super important, boys and girls, to make sure that you understand when you're voting for your officials in your council, in your city, your Senate, your Congress, that these people make up the whole of your legislative branch of government. And they're the ones where you tell A to tell B to tell C to tell the president to knock it off or to maybe you pat him on the back. If you're happy with the president, what he's doing, that's fine. You can have your opinion, but don't come looking at me when you can't turn on your light. Okay, just don't. And then I won't be able to play on, YouTube and Spotify and Apple and TikTok and all that stuff, Facebook. Anyway, know your stuff, people. Know your stuff. I highly recommend that you go to Amazon if you got an Amazon account, or go to your local bookstore, or go to your used bookstore. And I want y'all to start looking for books on the Dummies books. I'm not getting paid to sponsor the Dummies books. Hopefully, at some point, maybe, because I'm a dummy, aren't I? It's like, but understand how these systems work, you all, because if you don't, that toilet that we need to flush in the White House is going to stay stuck with a lot of shit. And it's just going to end up leaking into the basement of the ballroom. Okay. Okay. So that is all. I love you all very much. Remember to live the dream. I'm still trying to figure out what Mavaser Numera said. The dad from Roseanne looks like the other dude. I have to figure out who you were talking about. But no, I understand on the Fruity Pebbles comment that Trump does kind of look like. He got Fruity Pebbles hair. But you know what? It's fine. It's a comb over. Look, I'm not judging the man. He's very consistent in his look. You have to give him that. I mean, let's look at the positives of Donald Trump. He wasn't a career politician. I do believe the Lord sent him to bust up some shit. It just doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? It don't feel good. It don't feel good. So he needs to like figure out whose side he's on before those flames of fire be getting hot. I know. I don't even really believe, like I said, I don't really believe. Is hell real? Maybe. Maybe not. It's all a game, y'all. It's all a game. And last but not least, what I'm gonna look into next is I thought church and state were separate in America. Am I wrong? Somebody tell me something. I thought church and state were separate entities in America. Then why is the evangelical church in our politics? And why is this? Why? Why are we fighting over religion? You know, nobody's an anti-Semite up in here. So, no, no, no. And the people you calling anti-Semites ain't. And last but not least, Laura Loomer. If you ever see this video, Laura Loomer, I'm gonna pray for your soul, and I got a lot of goddesses that probably need to help you figure out what the hell you think you're doing when it comes to like beauty patrol. Okay, girl, listen, you don't need all that. I'm not saying you shouldn't get a little work done when you're getting older, but honey boo, stop being mean. Stop being mean to Candace. She, y'all just quit being mean to Candace because you're not going to win. You will never defeat the Candace Owens saga ever. Nope, not going to do it. So, all right, guys. I love you. Live the dream. Have a great day. Let me know what you think below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share these videos with people that you love or that you feel like that woman's crazy. Well, I'm very entertaining too. So peace out. Love you, babe. We'll talk to you later. Happy Monday. Okay. Bye.
All right, guys, just a little disclaimer here by myself, Holly King. I am not a medical doctor, a licensed clinical therapist, or a mental health therapist. All information and coaching provided is for educational and supportive purposes only and should not be considered medical or psychological advice. Please do consult your physician, licensed therapist, or another qualified healthcare provider before making any changes related to your health or even before beginning any coaching. So what that means, guys, is just consult with your doctor when you decide to check out our podcast. We'll see you later, all right? Bye.